Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the AIDS, the full form as you know, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Means in a person's lifetime when the HIV infection occurs, it leads to acquired immune system failure that we are calling as a immunodeficiency, and it appears like a group of symptoms they are calling as a syndrome. AIDS is called as a secondary immunodeficiency. There are two different kind of immunodeficiencies are there. In primary immunodeficiency, due to genetic abnormalities, the person immune system is not able to work properly. Example, severe combined immunodeficiency or adenosine deaminase deficiency. In secondary immune deficiencies, due to the virus attack and even due to the chemicals, the immune system failed to work properly. So that is called as a secondary immunodeficiency. AIDS is not a congenital disease. A congenital disease normally transfer from parents to the offspring through the chromosome. Okay, so when the chromosomes abnormalities are there, they will be transferred to the next generation. Okay, and we are calling them as a genetic or congenital diseases. Even birth defects also we may call as a congenital disease. But AIDS is not a congenital disease. It can spread from infected parents to the offspring due to the HIV infection. The HIV will transfer from infected mother to the child through the placenta or by means of the colostrum in the infantile stage. Okay, so it is a infectious disease only, but it is not a congenital disease. AIDS was first reported in 1981 according to the Center for Disease Control of USA. During last 25 years, more than 25 million people were infected and killed by HIV virus. As you know, the AIDS is transmitted by the HIV, which we are calling human immunodeficiency virus. This virus belongs to retrovirus family. A retrovirus is a virus which contains the RNA as a genetic material, which converts RNA into DNA, and later the virus are going to be multiplied. HIV is also belongs to lentivirus subclass also. What is a lentivirus means? A group of virus which having a long incubation period. Okay, so these HIV and even some viruses having long incubation time, means starting from their infection up to the appearance of this AIDS, they are not detectable or even not diagnosed the virus inside the patient actually. So that is called as a incubation period. Now structure of HIV, if you observe, it is appearing like a spherical in shape, and the diameter is 90 to 120 nanometers. And if you observe, the virus is containing a nucleocapsid. This we are calling as a nucleocapsid. Normally viruses contain nucleic acids along with the protein that we are calling nucleocapsid. Now if you observe, there are two RNAs are present. What is an RNA means? Ribonucleic acid. Okay, so there are two identical single stranded RNAs are present along with some enzymes called integrase and reverse transcriptase, even protease also. Okay, so this nucleocapsid is encased in the lipid layer. As you observe, the lipid layer is surrounding this nucleocapsid. Okay, and there is a group of protein layers also existing. Okay, let us observe the structure again. The lipid layer normally is going to be derived from host cell membrane. Okay, it is containing number of spike-like structures on their surface. Each spike-like structure is containing a knob and even a spike also. So these knobs we are calling as a glycoproteins, which are receptors on the surface of HIV. Okay, so we are calling two type of glycoproteins are there, glycoprotein 120 and glycoprotein 41. Glycoprotein 120 is helpful for the identification of CD4 receptors of the human cells. Okay, so human immune cells contain CD4 markers, especially macrophages, some T lymphocytes, dendritic cells, they contain the CD4 markers on their surface. Okay, so they will identify and they will helpful for the attachment. After attachment, with the help of GP41, they release the content into the host cell so that the host cell becomes infected and it produces number of virus particles later. Transmission of HIV occurs through blood, semen, preseminal fluid, rectal fluids, vaginal fluids and breast milk of infected patients. HIV transmits when there is an unsafe sexual practices with the infected person, it will be transmitted, and in some conditions when the contaminated blood and blood products with the HIV also transmits. In the intravenous drug abusers who are using the infected needles, who will be sharing the infected needles also transmits the HIV. HIV also transmits from the infected mother to the child through the placenta, where from the infected mother, the placenta is acting as a carrier of the HIV to the child. And after birth, if the infected mother provided the colostrum or breast milk, then it may contain the virus particles and the child again got infected with the HIV. And rarely in organ transplantation we may observe the transmission of HIV. HIV replication takes place in 7 different stages. In most of the human cells, we observe the 7 different stages of the HIV life cycle. HIV targets the cells, especially the immune cells, with the CD4 receptors. The CD4 receptors are present in some TH cells, which we are calling T helper cells or helper T lymphocytes. Macrophages are tissue cells, monocytes of WBC, dendritic cells also. So in all these cells there are some surface receptors called CD4 receptors are present. Now in the first stage, that is a binding or attachment, the virus particle attached to the CD4 receptors with the help of GP120. As we observe, glycoprotein 120 helps for the attachment and identification of the CD4 receptor. That process we are calling as an attachment. In the second process, that is a fusion, where the GP41, where the membrane envelope of the virus and the cell membrane of the CD4 cells are going to be fused with each other, that is mixed with each other, and release the virus particle, that is RNA reverse transcriptase will be entered into the cytoplasm. So we are calling it a fusion and release of the virus particle. In the third process, that is a reverse transcription, which is very important for the retroviruses, the virus RNA, that is a single stranded RNA, is converted into double stranded DNA by the help of reverse transcriptase enzyme, and the process we are calling reverse transcription. Because of this step only, we are calling HIV as a retrovirus. In integration, the virus DNA is entering into the host cell nucleus now. Okay, so the double stranded DNA enters into the nucleus and it is attaching itself with the host genome, and it becomes as a part of the genome now with the help of enzyme called integrase. Because of this step, the virus escaping from our immune system, so it is unable to detectable by our immune system and can't be eliminated from our body, so it is a one type of escape phenomena. And this virus stage we are calling as a pro-virus stage. In the replication process, the virus DNA come out from the host nucleus, and because of its administration over the host cell enzymes, now it can be converted into virus RNA and virus proteins, and they will be synthesized number of copies with the help of host enzymes. Because of this process we are calling it's a replication. Why? Because a single virus is converted into a number of copies of virus. That's why it is a multiplication or replication. In the next step, again the assembly, where the virus particles are assembled. Okay, so as we observe, there is a number of viral RNA and proteins are synthesized. They will assemble with each other so that there is one virus RNA which is surrounded with the capsid. Okay, so like this a number of virus particles are going to be assembled in the assembly process. In the last stage, that is a budding, the host cell is now with a number of virus particles, but they are unable to infect the next stage again. Why? Because they are still in the immature stage only. They are non-functional originally, but they become as a original or functional mature cells with the help of protease of the virus. Okay, so inside there is a enzyme called protease. That protease will break the virus particle. Okay, so that there is a two type of RNAs will be formed inside, and they will be bud off. That nothing but if it is a cell, they will be bud off the virus particle to the outside. Okay, or surrounding media. So that process we are calling as a budding. While they are budding from the cell, they will become into mature virus with the help of enzyme called protease. Okay, so this is the replication phenomena happening inside the CD4 cells. So if you observe, the macrophages are acting as a HIV factory. Why? Because a single virus, if it is entered into the macrophage, it produces a numerous virus particles to the outside environment. Okay, and they become as a macrophages. Some of these macrophages may be died because of the infection, and some persist their life. Okay, but if you consider the Th cells are going to be damaged more. Okay, and even some the immune cells also damaging by why? Because of the HIV virus infections. So when the Th cells are going to be decreased in the body, we are going to get the immunodeficiency. We can observe easily the HIV virus replication with the help of this diagram, as they have shown here the retrovirus, imagining here the HIV virus, and the number of stages we can observe easily. So first of all, the HIV virus having the number of spikes on its structure, the GP120 can bind with the CD4 receptor on the surface of host cell, and this is the attachment or binding stage. In the second stage, the GP41, which is activated, and there is an envelope, and the HIV virus envelope along with the host cell membrane, both are going to be fused and releasing the HIV virus contents into the cytoplasm. Now, the single-stranded RNA is converted into double-stranded DNA with the help of reverse transcriptase enzyme and the phenomena we called as a reverse transcription. After reverse transcription, the double-stranded DNA enters into the nucleus of the host cell and it integrates as a part of a host genome with the help of integrase enzyme, which is again from the virus only. This virus now behaving like a provirus means it can easily escape from the immune cells and it is behaving like a part of the genome. Later, it becomes a governed body of this complete host cell. Once the virus got the signal for the multiplication, this DNA will form a number of viral DNA pieces. They later converted into RNA, that is a transcription process, and they will be converted into proteins also, which we are calling as a translation. So these complete steps are involved in the replication of the viruses. So these processes are taking place with the help of host enzymes. It is not by the virus enzymes, it is by the host enzymes. Now, in the next step, there is an assembly. The proteins of the viruses and even the RNA of the viruses are going to be associating to form a new virion particles. These virion particles are the immature or non-functional particles, and later they may be converted into mature virus particles. This is happening because the protease enzyme present inside which breaks the RNA into two pieces and later it is converted into mature active virus particle so it can be transferred to the next stages and they can infect the neighboring cells easily. So in the seventh step, there is a budding or releasing of the HIV virus into the surrounding environment and the activation of the HIV also takes place. Now if we observe here, there is a number of cells are infected by the HIV virus. As we observe the macrophages, T helper cells, dendritic cells, all are killed by the HIV virus. But most of cases, the T helper cells are being infected in the HIV patients. Because of this, there is a immunodeficiency takes place, which leads to AIDS symptoms. Symptoms of AIDS can be observed after the incubation period or viral latency period. The HIV virus belongs to the lentivirus family, which are having more incubation period. As we observe, the incubation period starting from the infection up to the appearance of symptoms, the virus won't show any type of symptoms and they are continuously multiplying in the cells only. So within that time the person is not showing any symptoms. So there is a time lag between the infection and appearance of the AIDS symptoms originally, and it may be vary from one person to another person, and even it may be varying from few months to years also. And earlier stages, the person is show some bouts of fever, diarrhea and weight loss are primary symptoms. But once the virus start entering into the T helper cells and start destroying them, the body becomes immunodeficient. In this condition, the person is usually showing all type of infections like any kind of bacteria, viruses and fungi, parasitic can easily enter and start infecting that body. So we are calling that infections, normal infections, as a opportunistic infections. A normal healthy person can easily overcome these opportunistic infections, but the AIDS patient is not showing the cure of the opportunistic infections. Then coming to the AIDS diagnosis or HIV diagnosis. HIV diagnosis can be done in the earlier days, that is 3 to 6 months of HIV infection with the help of ELISA technique. ELISA is full form is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, where a particular antigen of the virus can be easily observed with the help of ELISA. The positive samples of the ELISA can be confirmed with the help of Western blot test, which is a confirmative test. Then in the earlier cases, in the case of HIV infections, earlier detection is very much useful for the patients for getting cure. Okay, so for that purpose we are using the nucleic acid test, which can identify the RNA of the viruses with the help of PCR test, which is the full form is polymerase chain reaction. Coming to the treatment, there is no particular treatment for the HIV infected patients. Why? Because the virus is going to escape from the cells, and even there are not any suitable vaccines and drugs against to this HIV treatment. So the antiretroviral drugs only somewhat curative, but they can prolong the life of a patient, but they can't prevent the death of that patient. These antiretroviral drugs, they are going to act in a number of ways. As we observe, there are 7 different steps in the life cycle of HIV. So they can be acting on the replication stage, or they may be attacking on the attachment stage. Like a number of stages they may be acting and preventing the virus replication, but they can't prevent the AIDS infection further, and even HIV spread also they can't prevent. That's why all the type of treatments are going to be partially effective. Coming to the preventive measures, there are number of preventive methods taken by a number of organizations. Like in India, the National AIDS Control Organization and non-governmental organizations are taking steps to educate the people about the AIDS. And in the World Health Organization, which is taken a number of programs to prevent the spread of HIV infection. So those are making the blood safe from HIV in the blood banks especially, and use of disposable needles and syringes in the public and private hospitals and clinics, free distribution of condoms, and educating the people about the safe sex practices, controlling drug abuse in the intravenous drug abusers, advocating safe sex practices, and regular checkups in susceptible of HIV populations is done by WHO.